Hey, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor which is due unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Makakadash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders, a great most honorable well, and taught me this truth. And Shalom to the Lord's elect. Okay, starting with 144,000. Yahweh Shai's elect. And yeah, man, I wanted to quickly talk on the World Cup. Okay, particularly the World Cup halftime show, which I caught a bit of it. You know, you're seeing all these different celebrities, and you know, what they always. There's always going to be more and more information coming out about things that they're doing, rituals and things that symbolism, because that's how these elite move when they do these kind of things. But what I thought was interesting is when I looked at the FIFA World Cup, there's only ever been two instances where they've held a halftime show. Okay, they don't do that in other countries. Anytime the World Cup has been hosted by another country in its history, it's not done that. Okay, but the two times it's happened with FIFA is this World Cup now, okay, which is in America. Okay, you had Trump there. Trump was sitting there with the head of the FIFA, and different celebrities in the crowd and things like that. But the president was there, and also you had the World Club Cup, and that was held in I believe in New Jersey, MetLife. Is it called a MetLife Stadium? So the two instances where they've done this halftime show, which that's been a staple in from what I know of the Super Bowl. Over the years, we've watched the videos of the halftime show, the different symbolism and things of that nature. But it goes to show you that it would be America that all of a sudden the rules are changing, things are changing, the structure's changing, and it goes to show you that what other country on earth has done that? Okay, America is Babylon the Great in the scriptures, man. Okay, and I'm gonna get a quick precept. It says Isaiah chapter 14 verse 4. It says that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how have the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. That's how it's actually referred to. Okay. At one point, people thought that they were going to come to America and that the streets would be paved with gold, man. But then they found out that it's a big lie. And they were basically just in slavery, man, in the ghettos. Okay. Now, in contrast, let's get that. In contrast, in Revelation, okay, in the kingdom of heaven, our cities, okay, they're actually going to have gold. They're going to be paid with actual gold. I'm going to read it for you. All right, bear with me while I find it. It's in Revelation. Revelation chapter 21 verse 18. And the building of the wall of it was of jasper, and the city was pure gold, like unto clear glass. Okay. Verse 21. And the 12 gates were 12 pearls. Every several gate was of one pearl. And the street of the city, the streets, right, was pure gold, as it were transparent glass. So the very streets, okay, are going to be paid with gold in the kingdom of heaven. That's the real kingdom, okay. But now on this side, okay, that great city, okay, that's another title of Babylon the Great. Let's read it. Okay, and when it's going to be a great fall when that destruction comes upon it, man. Okay. Revelation 11 and 8 says, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city. Okay. So this isn't talking about, when they're talking about Babylon, okay, that's not talking about Iraq. It's not talking about, what's the other one that people say? It's not talking about the Vatican City, okay? Mystery Babylon is America. And it's talking about the dead body shall lie in the street of the great city. Okay, what does that mean? We were in slavery. We were in a dead state. Okay? That happened in America, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. Yeah, where the LGBTQ movement comes out from. Okay, where they've got all these Egyptian obelisks, they've got the pyramid on the back of the dollar bill. Okay, and they put up the image of the so-called white man as the Messiah. Okay, as the Lord. So, you know, this place is being referred to as the Golden City, the Great City. Okay, let's read it in Revelation 18:2. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. Yeah, man, they've been doing all kinds of business deals. Okay? You had the head of the FIFA sitting next to Trump. What do you think that's about? Right? And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. It's talking about America. America is the only place that has done this. Okay? When you go around the world, what you see is something called Americanization. Okay? The different ways of life and philosophies that are pushed out by the so-called white man through what? Through America. You see that all around the world. Now, when you always had tension, you had a Cold War between the US and Russia, which Russia being put back into that state, the bear, right? Under Putin. Okay, which, you know, really it's the elites, but I'm just saying that's the so-called leader, right? Now, when in Russia, when you had the wall that was broken down in Berlin, the Berlin Wall, 1989, okay, and you know, you had the USSR, and pretty much the Soviet Union was starting to be broken down, okay, and I believe by the early 90s, I can't believe it was, I don't know if it was 91, or you had one of the first McDonald's that opened over there in Russia. Okay, there's a video on it, and it's that's another sign, a symbolism of that Americanization, man. Okay, that's like their known brand, McDonald's, is that American, that's like worldly recognized American brand. Okay, you can find them everywhere. They're next to the pyramids of Giza. People go to, you know, one of the so-called ancient world wonders that people go to visit. You got McDonald's there, so. You know, that's all coming out from one place on the earth, and that's America. The truths come out of America. That's the main place of the prophecy. If Babylon was Vatican, okay, then you know what? You get the prophets out of the Vatican. Now, what you do get is the false prophet. Okay, you do get these different religions which ain't got the truth. Okay, the Pope, that devil. Okay, that's what you get out of there. Now, where's the other place? Iraq. There ain't nothing going on in Iraq, man. Okay? Other than the war that happened over there. Okay? The truth is coming out of America. America is the place, the main place is that great city. Okay? And you know, this latest example is another indicator of that. Okay, so yeah, you know, I just want to quickly touch on that. You know, let's see what more kind of information comes out on that halftime show. But hey, you know, the king of Babylon was there, man. You know, so it goes to show how far the influence of that place goes. So hey, you know, Lord willing, this has been an edifying lesson in the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemashah Bashim Kakadash. With that, I'm gonna say all praise be unto Yahweh Shemashah Bashim Kakadash, and with that, shalom to the Lord's elect.